Hey guys, Eric with the Siva Distance Project here, and as promised, I'm going to deliver one of my favorite workouts to help you get rid of low back pain. It's going to strengthen your core, it's going to mobilize your thoracic spine, it's going to mobilize your hips, it's even going to give you leg strength, balance. It's awesome. It's all predicated on some yoga postures that I learned as a yoga instructor, but then it combines a little bit of high intensity interval training and breath work to give you one great dynamic exercise routine. You can do it in a wide variety of ways. We're going to do it today with 60 seconds on and 30 seconds off as I kind of walk you through it. But you can do 30 seconds of each exercise if you want to. You do you. Just make sure you really focus on the technique, because that's what makes the right muscles move, and focus on your breath work so it doesn't become too stressful of an issue. Whenever you exhale and breathe, your tissue loosens up even more. So get every penny on the dollar that you can while you do this workout. So let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise, up, down, dog. Now, up, down, dog combines two exercises, two postures in yoga, but moves through them dynamically. We're going to bring our hands to about shoulder width position, as well as our feet in shoulder width position. And I want you to push back into a bent knee, downward facing dog. So curling my toes, I'm going to keep my knees bent and pull my face towards my feet as I arch my tailbone way up in the air. Next, round your back by tucking your tailbone and starting to straighten your legs and make them strong. And with my elbows locked and my shoulders pulled away from my ears, I'm going to move into an upward facing dog. Now, right now, my belly is very tight. I'm keeping my core engaged. I should feel no back pain. If you feel back pain in any of these exercises, especially this one, I'm going to do the knee on the floor variation. And I'm going to have that when we do our follow through in the upper hand corner. So the first variation to try is without the knees hitting the ground, my back rounds and my tailbone tucks. Now right here with my tailbone tucking, my belly can squeeze tight, my core has good engagement, and my legs are tight, integrating into that system. Then with my tight belly, I drop down into that hip extension and pack my shoulders away from my ears. I don't want my shoulders up here. This is not doing me any favors. This right here, that's doing some medicine right there. Now, like I said, if you're doing the knee variation, your knees stay on the ground in transition. So I go from bent knee down dog to knee drop, round my back, tuck my tailbone, squeeze belly into up dog. Keep the knees on the floor through transition, like so. Always exhaling. That's our first exercise, up, down, dog. Our next exercise is inside twist. And what we can do with this exercise and a couple other ones in this routine is we can use yoga blocks to help us with where our hips might be a little too tight. Now, how do you know when to use yoga blocks? Well, let me show you. In this exercise, we will be stepping up from a plank or kneeling plank position to flat foot outside our hands. If your hands are on the floor and you go to step up and can't get your foot all the way to the outside of your hand, then you're definitely going to need yoga blocks, because you're not going to get the medicine, and the exercises could be unstable and dangerous as well. So keep a pair of those handy if you have them. The exercise is going to look like this though. From a plank position, I'm going to turn on my core by tucking my tailbone and squeezing my legs. My glutes are engaged, my hands are underneath my shoulders. Take a step up with your right foot on an exhale until your leg is in this nice perpendicular shape. The hand that's closest to my front leg is going to windmill forward and then up to the 12 o'clock position. Notice that I'm pointing through my index finger. That's pulling me into this twist. When I get to 12 o'clock, my back leg is going to straighten as much as it can, and my front knee is going to pull towards my chest. I don't want it to flare out. So pull into this 12 o'clock position. Then bring your hand down with control. Step back and lock the plank again. Then step up with the left foot. Take the hand closest to the front leg
Round it up to 12 o'clock as you squeeze the back leg and pull the knee to your chest. And come back. Always exhaling through tension. And getting that front foot flat. The modification that you'll see in the follow along video in the upper hand corner will involve blocks and starting with my knees on the ground. I'll step up to flat foot, keeping my knee on the floor. I'm going to go up just like I did in the other version. Encourage this knee to pull towards my belly. Bring my hand down, step back. Now when I come into this position here, I'm still engaging my core by tucking my tailbone, tightening my belly and my glutes. Step up on the other side. Keep your belly engaged the whole time. Next exercise. Extended side angle consists of a very similar start from the other exercise where I'm in a plank position and I take a step up with one foot. But now what I'm going to do, let me change my position here so you can see me a little bit better. I'm going to take my back heel and I'm going to spiral it down to the ground. My front hand is going to slide up off the floor and I'm going to tuck my tailbone and bring two arms in one line in this position. What I see a lot of times is people's butt sticking out, and that's because their hand is still too low to the ground. So if I turn my body here, when I come up, I spiral my heel and slide my hand up until I can tuck my tailbone, which engages my core and stretches out the inner part of my thighs and the groin area. Then I'm going to come back down and take my hands to the floor, spiral my back heel, step up. With the other foot, spiraling the heel down on this side, I'm going to pull my hands up off the floor. My arm is pressing into my front leg and I'm tucking my tailbone underneath, getting two arms in one line. Come back down, go back to plank, lock it in. Spiral the heel, bring the hand up, tuck, tuck, tuck. Arms pressing into the leg to tuck my tailbone and feel that twist in the hip sockets, tight belly, back and forth. The modification, very similar to the previous exercise. We're going to use blocks, keep our knees on the ground. From a nice kneeling plank position, we keep our abs tight. We step up and we draw the arm up like a bow. If I still can't get my tailbone tucked underneath and my butt sticking out, I might have to lift the block a little bit higher to get that position. My thoracic spine is also getting a lot of attention in these previous exercises. Anytime I'm bending or twisting from this area, like you see in this version right here and in the previous version. That's why these exercises are so great, because they are allowing that relationship between the middle back, the lumbar spine, and the hips to go all of their ranges of motion and get all of their dynamic maintenance. Now, next exercise, Skandasana. Once again, we're going to generate this from a plank position. From the plank, I'm going to lock down my core, rotate my elbow pitch forward even to get my lats engaged, because my lats are a part of my core too. Take a big step up with your right foot. Spiral your back heel like you did in the previous exercise, and now walk your hands back as you shift your weight into your back foot and straighten your front leg. My toes are pulling towards my shin, and then I can even take my hands off the floor if I'd like. There's a lot of pressure going on in my inner thighs, and I'm sitting down towards my heel. Then I'm going to shift my weight back forward, put my hands on the floor, and pick up my back heel. Walk back to plank. Guess what? Switch sides. Spiral the back heel, keeping my heels on the ground of both feet. I shift my weight into my back leg, straighten my front as I pull the toes up. Walk back forward, Pick up the heel, shift. Just like so. The modified version that you'll see up in the corner of your screen will also involve these blocks. Now, with the blocks, you're going to take them with you. They're going to help you walk back. So from a plank position, I'm going to have to keep my knees up off the ground in this variation as I step forward, spiraling the heel. But now I use the blocks to kind of help take the pressure off. All right? Walk back to Skandasana, come back forward. You can put the knee on the ground in transition, not a problem, but you're gonna have to straighten the leg and spiral the heel so you can walk back with the blocks and get all of that medicine in that inner groin stretch. The final exercise is a tripod. The tripod is going to engage the glutes. It's going to extend the hips. We talked about this part being real tight right here from that forward flexion of sitting, and it's also going to increase thoracic rotation. So let's talk about how this plays out. The tripod looks like this. From the floor, my feet are going to be about a little wider than my shoulders is typically where I feel they work the best. I'm going to take one hand behind me and pack my shoulder away from my ear. This keeps my shoulder safe. My elbow pit rotates outward, and then I'm going to press in my feet and extend my hips as I squeeze my glutes. Reach behind me with my index finger pointing and get my body to bow as much as I can. Inhale, I'll come back down. I'll switch sides. Pack my shoulder, rotate the elbow pit. Squeeze the glutes. Reach up overhead, switching sides back and forth. Now for a lot of us, this can be a little too intensive an exercise. One, the glutes may not be strong enough to lift up your hips all the way, and the hip flexors might be too tight. Two, shoulder may not be able to take the load of your body weight. A lot of people have many different shoulder issues. So the modification for this exercise will be elevated to maybe you'll have a chair at home, or you can do this off of a short table, or if you so have a plyo box like you see in gyms, those are great as well. So I'm going to demonstrate on a box just to show that height difference for your modification. So a tripod on the box, same thing, but now I can extend my hips all the way, reach back behind me, come back to the box. I'm still packing the shoulder, rotating the elbow pit, and squeezing the glutes to get that full hip extension. All right, guys, stay tuned because now we're going to do a quick little follow-along round. Like I said, we're going to do 60 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest, focusing on technique first and foremost, and breath work. Start on level 1, and then if you feel good about that, the next round you can jump up and do the version where you're on the floor with knees off the ground. All right, guys, it's time for our follow-along round. We're going to do 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off. We're going to go through this one time. Remember, your modifications are up in the corner, and if you want to do more rounds, just rewind it or set a timer on your own, and you can adjust the times as you need to. Remember to breathe and focus on technique. Let's start with your up, down dog. We're going to bring our hands underneath our shoulders, bend your knees, and sit back in the down dog as you round your back with tight abs. Pack the shoulders, push back, and repeat. Keep your abs tight. Keep your elbows locked. Moving the vertebrae. Every spinal vertebrae is moving independently. Waving your spine into that core engagement. Bending your knees and then straightening your legs as you shift forward. Keep those shoulders packed. Got about 20 seconds left. Hang in there, guys. Just focus on the technique. Speed is not the issue. Movement and stability is the issue. Awesome. All right. Inside twist is next. You're going to be in a plank position. You're going to step forward with one foot until your foot is flat on the outside of your hand. And we're going to windmill the arm up as we turn towards our front leg. Remember, when you're in your plank position, hands underneath your shoulders, feet are nice and locked in, flexed, your legs are tight. All right? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Step up on an exhale, twist towards your front leg, step back, shift sides. I'm rotating from the ribs, letting all my air out. When I step back to plank, I'm going to tuck my tailbone, lock it in. Legs are strong. When I hit that 12 o'clock position, my back leg tightens as much as it can. Keep breathing. 20 seconds left. Don't let that front knee flare out. Pull it towards your chest as much as you can. 10 seconds. You made it, guys. Awesome. Next exercise, extended side angle. Once again, from a plank position, you're going to step up. But this time, you're going to spiral the heel. Tuck your tailbone as you lift your hands up off the ground and bring 2 arms into one line, then switching sides. All right? Stay with your breath. Remember, you're rotating from the ribs here as well. This is about the relationship between the trunk and the hips. Here we go. Step up, spiral the back heel, tuck the tailbone, spiral. Let that hand come up off the floor so you can tuck. Keep breathing. Press that arm and tie into the inside of that front leg. Doesn't matter how fast you go. It matters that you pay attention to the technique, that you move the spine and the hips the way they're intended to move in these exercises. 10 seconds left. Keep your feet nice and strong. Back leg is straight. Awesome. Next one is Skandasana. So, this is the one where we're going to step up, then we're going to spiral our back heel and walk back as we straighten the front leg and sit down towards the heel. Walk back forward, switching sides, spiral the back heel, and sit back and walk. Just changing side to side. Don't forget to breathe. Here we go, guys. Starting from plank position. Step up on the exhale, spiral the back heel. Shift, lock down the plank. You can take your hands off the ground if you need to. Just lift your chest if you do. Do not hold your breath at any point in time. It makes your body tighter, which we're working against, and makes you work harder. Increases your heart rate unnecessarily. "15 seconds left. Hang in there. Three, 2, 1. Very nice. All right. One more exercise in this round. That's the tripod. So, feet are going to be shoulder width apart. You're going to windmill the hand back behind you. Pack that shoulder away from your ears. Rotate the elbow pit outward as you squeeze the hips into extension and reach back behind you with a pointed finger. All right? Don't forget to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Here we go. Squeeze, come down, switch sides, tap the shoulder. Extend the hips and reach. I don't want my knees to buckle towards each other. I want them to kind of stay apart, create a nice base. If your hips aren't extending all the way up, that means you want to do the modification. That's the most important part, is that I'm getting that full hip extension. The middle of my spine is twisting because there's one hand on the ground and one hand up. So I'm getting that nice thoracic rotation. If your shoulder hurts, if your back hurts, go to the other modification. Elevate yourself. There you go, you did it. That's round one. I suggest doing 2 or 3 more rounds. Set your timer, rewind the video. Go, you got this, guys. I'm proud of you. Thanks for joining.